Hello YouTube and hello 9th Age community. This is Charles with Evershade Gaming and I'm bringing another 9th Age battle report. Game 5 of Buckeye Battles. It is, oh man, July is almost over. It's crazy to think that this month of July flew by this fast. And Buckeye Battles is already so far away from us. But we're so close to next year's Buckeye Battles. But let's talk about game number 5. Just a quick peek at my list again. Again, got those 3 Griffons. A whole bunch of infantry and core, a lot of shooting, Imperial Guard, flags, steam tank. Played against a Lust Demons list, round 5, which it's not a great matchup. Just saying that right there. They're just so fast. So he's got 2 Demon Princes. One has the Lash, has Soulbound Staff, Shackles Reality, that gives it the Fortitude, Rockin' Path of Thaumaturgy, which is a great lore, and it's a Wizard Master, so... yeah, it's a good caster. It's got a little shooting potential. I was really scared of that Demon Prince. He's also got another Demon Prince of Lust, Eternal Sword, Blissful Bindings, Black Orb. Just another annoying Demon Prince. 2 things of 21 Sirens, 2 things of Forward Clothings, 2 Chariots, and a little 5-pack of Furies. So everything's Lust, which is great for him. Bad for me, really. So starting with his deployment on the left, he's got one of his Shrine of Temptations, he's got one of his unit of 21 Sirens, and then he's got the Demon Prince that has the Eternal Sword, so the more combat-y Demon Prince is on his left side of the board. And then towards the center, he's got another unit of Sirens, and the deployment was just battle line. The objective was secure target, so one of the targets you can see is right there in the middle of the board. He's got one of his Claw Fiends next to that big unit of Tiger. It's actually got both his Claw Fiends kind of right in the middle, sandwiched between another Shrine of Temptation, his little pack of Furies on the right flank, and then his Wizard Master on the right flank. She's a beautiful, luscious, Lust Tea Demon Prince lady with very nice body. That was weird. Moving on to Empire Sonnstahl deployment. So I've got my Steam Tank on the left, and then I've got 2 of my Griffon characters on the left here too. I believe that he dropped more of his army to go first. So I got to counter deploy as much as possible. So I have 1 unit of heavy infantry behind my Griffons. Got my flags in the forest, because obviously they don't care about steadfast. And then I've got my handgunners behind my general right there. Pretty as far back as they can, but you know, with Lust you really can't be too far back. And then I have my wizard and his militia chilling right there, facing that water feature on the right of this picture. Another Griffon character near that water, and my Imperial Guard again on the back of the board, as far back as I can. Crossbows as far back as I can. Cannon, and then another unit of heavy infantry. So I believe I dropped some of my heavy infantry first, and that's why they just kind of ended up on the different corners. I think if I probably had a choice to move them, I probably would have maybe, I don't know. It would have been, I didn't really love my deployment this game, but I didn't really know what to do against, I don't know. It's just kind of hard when you're such a fast enemy. So, Demon Legions turn 1. So he just moves up with everything. Moves up with his Claw Fiends, which, I mean, the Claw Fiends, they look far away, but they really are not. The Claw Fiends are, I think, maybe 16, 17 inches away from the handgunners, which is like a 10, for, or a 6 or a 7 for them. It's so short. So he moves up with both his Claw Fiends really aggressively, moves up with his Sirens, moves up with his Demon Princes, 1 just to get 1 in range for magic. His Chariot's obviously the slowest part of his army. Charge far, but slow because they only moved 10. So he gets the +1 Aegis save on one of his, I believe this is the Clawed Fiends next to his Wizard Master on the right, and then Empire Sonnstahl turn 1. So I charge my Griffon character. This was a bit of a long charge. I believe I needed a 9, but I make it in with my general on this this unit of Sirens, which I'm not too worried about them. I just need to start grinding against them. Put my this Griffon character right here. He's got the Winter Cloak in with these on these boys, and then I really hoped I could have made this actually, which was a part of like I wish I deployed a little bit further up, These guys needed, I believe, an 8. They're about, I think they were 12 inches away from these Furies, and I failed that charge. That would have just been great to get in there, because I could just got rid of that. Makes it a little bit harder for me to get rid of my cannons. Going into the magic phase, I can't really remember how many dice I got, but this was fantastic. Throw 4 dice at Fate's Judgment just to try and like make it harder for him to choose between my cannon or like my crossbows, my light infantry. I roll 4 dice at Fate's Judgment, kill 1 Fury, and I roll 3 4s, so I lose the spell. So that was really sad. Turn 1, this guy misfires. The steam tank misfires, rolled a 4, so he can't shoot for a turn. And I believe my other cannon misfired and knocked himself out of the game. So that was pretty sweet. Handgunners do a wound on the Demon Prince, which was awesome. And then over here in combat, he just sacrifices his champion, which is just a good move because that, you know, I think I might win, but I don't think he loses any models. Over here, you know, it's like a fluff fight. You both got 5-ups. I've got a 2-up. So he does a wound. I do a wound. I stick. He doesn't lose any models. Demon Legion's turn 2. Yep, there he is, charging my cannon, which I can't remember if it rolled a 1 to be out of the game or if it rolled a 1 can't shoot next turn. I almost want to say it was out of the game, so it was like, no, it must have been able to shoot in the next turn. That's why he charged it. And then he puts one of his, his Demon Prince with the lash into the flank of my Griffon character. So that's a little dicey right there. And he makes a long charge with his chariot and my steam tank. Not really too worried about that, though. And then he puts his Demon Prince with the Eternal Sword in my flags. Also not too worried about that. He'll kill a bunch, but maybe I can do some wounds to him. And yeah, this is how it's looking like on my right. I think he's still going to move those Furies, though, out of the charge arc of those heavy infantry. And then he turns the other unit of Sirens to face my general, so if I... Yeah, which, you know, I might have to eat another charge later on, which would be hard for him, because it's hard to shoot through demons. He puts a Wrath of the Gods down, right next to a lot of juicy stuff. We'll see when that goes off, but I just couldn't stop it. He's trying to put the Breath Weapon up, wanted to stop that, wanted to stop the Aegis spell. In combat, I believe we both do, I'd obviously do a challenge, and I want to say I put 1 wound on him. He might put another wound on me, but we all stick around. Yeah. EOS turn 2, baby. So, yeah. I charge my Imperial Guard into the flank of his Demon Prince, which I thought was pretty awesome. Really excited about that. And this is what the rest of the board looks like. I try to charge with my Grey Griffon on the left there into the Sirens. I believe I needed like a 17 or an 18, and I just couldn't get it, unfortunately. So I don't really go anywhere, which is unfortunate, because that would have been really helpful to get into that flank of that unit to stop them from charging my general next turn. The Fiends killed my cannon last turn. I didn't even bother turning my crossbows because I'm not going to do enough damage to them. I can't make them panic, so I'm just going to shoot at his chariot, hope to do some wounds there, and then I lose another scoring unit, unfortunately. I get Altered Sight on my handguns. I think I was going to... I'm pretty sure they're shooting at the Sirens this turn, so they could do maybe a couple wounds. And then at the end of the magic phase, the Wrath of the Gods builds up. Puts another marker on it. So, exciting. It's getting more and more powerful. So, this was so sad. So again, we're in a challenge with this dude, and I want to say he did 2 more wounds with his Demon Prince, and I didn't make a 5-up armor save or a 5-up Aegis save, and I died. And then he passed his stubborn check, and then his Fiends were out of combat, so they get to reform. That I was really sad when that happened, because I thought there was a lot of potential to start doing wounds to those Fiends, because I mean they were going to be eating like 6 or 7 combat res, I think, from like all my charges and my flanks and everything like that. But yeah, I just couldn't really force them to do anything. In this combat over here, I killed a shrine after like 2 rounds of grinding, and then we put a couple more wounds on the Demon Prince, so he's only got 1 wound left. Demon Legions, turn 3. The Fiends, unfortunately, since they're free, they got to just go into my Wizard unit, which is just bad. He charges the Sirens in the flank of my General, and then he puts a Chariot into my Temple Guard, or my Imperial Guard, and then he puts my, Fiends in the other Light Infantry. He gets the Breath Weapon up in the Magic phase. The Wrath of the Gods built up again, so again, this is getting even more powerful. So we'll see when that comes down. In combat, he breaks me. I don't think he does really any damage to me. It's just static. He might do. I might have like 1 wound on that Griffon, but it's just all static combat. And then he easily kills the Wizard Bunker unit, and he overruns to be right there. I can't remember if he actually chased me down or if he just... I think he does chase me down. And then, oof, over here, lose a lot of Imperial Guard. Yeah. But I'm still sticking. Emperor Sonnstahl turn 3. I put my Steam Tank into his Demon Prince over here. Should be able to kill him. And possibly keep the flags alive, so that'll be awesome. Kind of keep them around for later. And then my General fails his rally, which is really unfortunate because he goes through the Light Infantry, and they decide to just follow him off the board. So, unfortunately, just lose 2 units for the price of 1. Yeah. The Wrath of the Gods builds again, which is just kind of getting obscene at this point. And in my magic phase, I have Druidism from my BSB this turn, or from my Crown of the Wizard King, and I'm able to get. I think I'm like just throwing 5 dice at it because it's game 5. I'm like whatever, throwing 5 dice, and I'm getting like the Druidism spell off, so that was pretty dope. I kill his Demon Prince, which is really great, and then we are gonna go into combat on the other side. And my BSB was working on the Shrine of Temptation last turn. I think he did like a wound or 2, and then he does like another wound or 2 here, and I did a couple wounds with the shooting, get rid of the Shrine, and then I sacrificed my BSB this round of combat. So I have 1 Imperial Guard left, and I have my BSB. So we'll see how long these guys can keep this Demon Prince around, especially since that one's the one with the Lash and the Wizard Master. And I believe that one is the General too, so obviously worth a lot of points. Demon Legions turn 4. Ah, man, I feel like this was just bad play on my part, but I wasn't moving my heavy infantry. I should have been like moving them to kind of follow the Steam Tank, so I could maybe... There's like an objective really close to me on this side of the board, but I ended up just eating a flank charge over here from these guys because I couldn't hold them down. And the same thing over here. I just really wasn't moving the this heavy unit of heavy infantry. I just really wasn't thinking about it, and they could have been in a way different place, and they ended up getting charged by those guys who killed the light infantry. So, and they're really my only scoring units left, so not looking good for the objective. He gets the breath weapon off here, and he gets the +1 armor save, or +1 Aegis on one of his dudes. Yeah, I can't really stop any of his magic. Somehow, the Wrath of the Gods still hasn't come down, so it's got like 5 markers on it, which is crazy. And then I challenge with my BSB this time, and I want to say he eats a breath weapon and survives, and he eats a bunch of attacks, survives. He only takes wound. Made a lot of armor saves and fortitude saves, so that was awesome. And then in this combat, I do a couple wounds. He does some wounds, but he sticks. No surprise. Emperor Sonnstahl turn 4. I get the fortitude spell up again. And somehow I've been like putting a couple wounds on this chick too. She's got 2 wounds on her right now. Or she had 1 wound on her from that earlier turn. But yeah, the best part about Druidism is I took that wound that he put on my BSB off. So it's just, I'm getting really lucky with getting the Druidism spell off. And then the Wrath of the Gods builds again, I believe. It looks, yeah, I think it's supposed to build again. It's insane. This Wrath of the Gods just kept building and building. Or actually, this might be when it finally comes down, or is this combat? I guess we'll have to see. This might be combat, and we're all just sticking around. So Demon Legion's turn 5. The Fiends end up wiping out the heavy infantry, and they end up going into my flags. Gonna lose the flags. And then, yes, on his turn 5, finally, the Wrath of the Gods comes down. I have the Fortitude spell up still. And I almost saved the banner from the Imperial Guard. I rolled 3 4-ups, but I took 1 wound on him. My BSB takes no damage, and he kills his Demon Prince of Lust with his own Wrath of the Gods. How sweet that was. So, it's the most beautiful poetic justice I could have ever... you can't write these things. That's just what happened. It's insane. Over here, I want to say this is just showing how this combat's still kind of grinding on. I'm going to end up losing those heavy infantry by the end of the game. Yeah, there's a lot of dead stuff over on this side of the board. And then this is what it looks like. Pretty much the final turn. He put another Wrath of the Gods down, so that's why my steam tank's really far away. I just didn't want it. I just didn't want it to come down and me just roll really bad at armor saves and either give him half points or somehow lose the steam tank. I think it's only got 1 or 2 wounds on it, but it just seemed like something that could randomly happen and be really bad. I've only got the 1 Griffon left. I got my BSB left. He's going to end up winning the objective because he ends up getting both his Sirens near it. I don't even think I have a scoring unit left on the board because I lost both my heavy infantry, I lost all my light infantry, lost my Imperial Guard. So I charged my Griffon in turn 4 or turn 6 into one of his weakened Siren. This is the one that my general went into, and oh man, Griffon rubber lance. I think I do 1 wound, so I actually lost combat, but I stuck because my BSB was nearby, and that's how the game wraps up. I tried to move my steam tank forward in an attempt to do anything, but I can't. Obviously, I can't even really do anything to those Fiends. They're so hard to kill. But this is how the end of the game looks like. Wild game. The Wrath of the Gods was insane. Just I can't believe it killed his general. So it ends up being a pretty big loss for myself, though. I only get 4 points. And the biggest loss was I just couldn't get the objective because I didn't move those heavy infantry forward to try and secure some of those targets or just get them out of the way. Obviously, losing my Griffins to board dice sucks, but I don't know. I could have moved some units around a little bit better to, just keep my stuff alive better and give myself a better fighting chance. But I gotta say, I think it's a bad matchup, and I think my opponent played very well too. If you're interested and you don't mind indulging me, I'm just gonna kind of talk about Buckeye battles and how I thought this army did. So, light infantry. I'm gonna start with shooting. Light infantry are so reliable. It's fantastic. Honestly, felt like their output all the games was better, obviously, than my cannons. My cannons rolled so poorly this entire tournament. And I thought back on it, the only time I did any wounds to any single monster or any single target was with in the second game, I did 3 wounds to his Forsaken one with my normal cannon. But that's honestly just sometimes how it goes. But I'm really loving light infantry. They're just, honestly, I feel like they're the cornerstone of any EOS list right now. They're just rocking it. They're so good. The 3 Griffins. How did I feel about the 3 Griffins? I feel like they're a pretty serious threat, mostly because they're just flying. They're these flying, they're not huge or anything. They don't really take up a lot of space on the board. These flying monsters, sort of monstrous, really just large cav. And I feel like a solo, they can do a lot of damage. I saw them do a lot of stuff. Obviously, in a couple games, they had some really critical moments, like in this game, where I couldn't make those Aegis saves, those armor saves, and I failed. And against the Bar Collect in Game 3, where I just flubbed like no other. But I think they have a very serious potential, and I like having all 3 in a list. I almost can't decide if it's better... Would it be better just to have a 4th Griffin and just not have any magic, not have any BSB, and just gonna go full flying force, and maybe just make some big bunkers or big units or something like that, and just be like, whatever, maybe my core is 2 things of like heavy infantry for scoring, and then just like a bunch of I can't really. I could probably fit some flag. Nah, and a lot less flags. Which, talking about flags, I feel like I should have had a smaller number of them in this tournament. I didn't really feel like the big unit was ever that useful. Obviously, it really rocked in game 2. But by then, the Marauders were already pretty weakened. I honestly didn't need all those guys. They obviously did a lot of damage, but I mean, almost, I don't want to say did more damage than I needed, but I could have had a smaller unit and probably still would have won that combat. And, I mean, against the Vampire Knights in Game 3, I thought maybe I would have enough to grind through the Vampire Knights, but I found a lot of times the Strength 5 just wasn't enough, which is strange, because, I mean, Strength 5 is good, but in a lot of cases, I don't know, maybe the Strength 5, yeah, just really didn't do it, so maybe that might have been it. Obviously, a little bit of magic could have helped them, a prelate would help them, but then that's more character points, and I don't have those in this list. I almost thought that maybe an Arcane Engine would have been better and more Imperial Guard, which can continue on the kind of the combat theme. I love the Steam Tank. Steam Tank is still one of my favorite models in the Empire Army. I think it just does so many different things. It shoots, it moves so well, it's great in combat. To all the haters out there that hate their Steam Tanks, I'm just saying, give them a chance, man. I love my Steam Tank. It did great. It lived in 3 out of my 5 games, and in my first game, it did a ton to hold down those Thicket Beasts. Game 3, it just died against the vampires charging it. Not a huge. Obviously, I guess the chaff was decent for 1 turn, but I love my Steam Tank. The Imperial Guard, though, I thought they did better than what I thought they would do. I lost them, I think, out of every game but 1. I lost them in fortified games. But I thought they did a lot. They were mostly a speed bump, mostly like just a tar pit for stuff. But even that, I don't know. There were some games where I think they did really well together. It's weird that I never really had the Imperial Guard and a Griffon fight together. That just never came up. But I like them. But I think more of them would be better than the 24 that I took. And then the last thing I need to talk about is the magic in this list, which I thought was really weak. I just don't have enough spells. Like 4 spells is not enough. 1 on my BSB, and it's like a random spell, and then just 3, 2 from a lore, 2 from Divination, and then 1 from either pretty much almost always Cosmo for that Altered Sight, or maybe Alchemy for the Quicksilver. But yeah, the magic was just a little weak. Another bound spell really good in either the form of like a magic item, like that magic item that gives you +1 to hit could be really good on a Griffon character. Or maybe it might be better to have an Arcane Engine list, because an Arcane Engine would be super helpful. But yeah, I don't know. I like this list. I thought it was a lot of fun. Buckeye Battles is obviously really great. Got to thank Jeff. He did such a great job. Oh, and it's pretty funny. I don't know if this came out yet, or if anybody knows. Obviously, some people know who they're. I ended up winning Best Empire Sonnstahl, which, like, I say that, and I'm saying, like, I ended up winning it because I went 1-3-1. I lost 3 games, I won 1, and I tied 1. But somehow, out of all, like, and there was, I think, like, 7 Empire Sonnstahl players, I apparently got beat on the worst, or the least worst. So, pretty happy. I think I took 42nd or 43rd overall, and I got Best Empire Sonnstahl. So, go Griffins. I guess you got a Best Empire Sonnstahl award, so that's pretty sweet. Shout out to my wife. I don't know if anybody noticed this, but my banner's got these really great decals, and I'll have to take a close-up and show you, but, like, oh man, the decals that I have on my new banners, super sweet. I hope they popped up in a couple of the pictures. I love them. Shout out to my wife. She's beautiful. Love her. Gotta thank the wife. Thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this battle report, and I'll have another battle report up soon. Just got a game in, actually, this morning, on Saturday. So, thanks for watching. See you soon.